Compost and cotton and cornrows.
Welcome to the Compost, Cotton, and Cornrows podcast. I'm your host, Dominique Drakeford. Thanks for joining the space where Black and Afro-Indigenous vanguards are redefining sustainability through storytelling. Let's get into it. Dawn Richard is an American singer, songwriter, and visionary artist known for blending R&B, electronic, and experimental music. She gained fame as a member of the multi-platinum girl group Danity Kane before launching a bold solo career. Her critically acclaimed albums like Golden Heart and Second Line showcase her innovation and independence. Beyond music, Richard explores animation, tech, and visual art, carving out a unique space as a boundary-breaking, genre-defying creative force. My good sis, Dawn! Thank you for joining the pod.
Always for you.
I'm so excited to have you on this session today. Super appreciative. And let's get in. I like to set the tone and the texture and the vibrations with a definition. So, how do you define sustainability?
I define sustainability with access to ancestral stories.
Mm.
The reason I say that is because we spoke about this. We are a part of a culture that has understood sustainability long before the world told us what sustainability was, the name sustainability. The roots and the culture in which specifically I come from in New Orleans, we preserve. That is what we are a city of, the preservation of culture, the preservation of reusing our soil, reusing our roots, reusing our beads to sew. For our Indians, reusing our materials to paint, to play, to move art through story. So we sustain every day.
I know that's
That
right.
is something that has been a part of our culture long before the word sustainability was even moved into a definition. And so when I think of sustainability, I think of ancestral roots and the stories behind our culture and how we cultivated it long ago.
Moving stories through art. Come on, girl. Come on, girl. But no, I love that definition. Rooted in ancestry. And there's something that always needs to be said when we talk about the mainstream lexicon of sustainability. And when we're talking to Black folks, almost reaffirming that we've been about this life. It's been packaged and force-fed in a different way, but it is literally part of our DNA. It's literally ingrained in our blood circulation, in our bones, in the craft of our culture, in the soil that we have worked. And so I love this definition, especially you being in New Orleans. So here for that. Thank you, sis. So an artist of your caliber, and shout out to you for your artistry, unwavering artistry. How did you sort of walk that bridge into advocacy and environmental justice?
I've been in this, I've been in it long before it chose me. I'll say that because I had to go through it to realize I needed to be a part of it, and specifically in New Orleans, knowledge and information is just not given. And narrative from the other parties that are not a part of environmental justice do a really good job of narrating the lie. They sell the lie to our communities in a way that keeps the wrong people in office, that keeps our infrastructures from not being sustainable enough to protect us. And we didn't know that. We go around being New Orleans hospitality. We go around saying New Orleans gets jobs and all the things, but we don't realize that when something like Katrina happens, we're not prepared. And losing everything and living in a car and watching my family who built everything from nothing. My mom and dad work, excuse my language, their asses off for my brother to have the education and the ability to move forward. And to watch it be stripped from them and they not know what to do was the hardest thing I'd ever seen. And in that, it showed me that I didn't necessarily know why we were in the situation, but I know what I felt. It wasn't until I saw us on CNN and I was given a red ticket from a refugee camp, because again, I'm saying refugee because that's how they treated us,
Yeah.
right? Like, they put us and directed us to a tent, a Red Cross tent, and said, "Here's this red ticket. You'll get a box, a bag, a brown bag full of an apple, a sandwich, and a cracker, and pick out some underwear that was donated, a little pack, and then here's a card for $1,000. Good luck."
Mm.
That was what we were given, like, treated that way and housed and moved into these, like, sectional places because the hotels were too expensive or the hotels were sold out. And in that moment, I realized, okay, this isn't just a storm. This is a genocide.
Mm.
Is trying to remove Black people for land, for money, for purpose other than citizens, other than the United States citizens who should be protected. And in that moment, going back to a television show because I was in Making the Band at the time, though I lost everything and I'd gotten this career, the first thing on my mind was when I get the opportunity and I am away from the craziness of this, like even when I was in mainstream, I had been asking like, what is the nonprofits? What is the, and they don't, as artists,
Mm.
most times and when you're a product, they don't sell you how to help. They sell you
Mm.
how to make money for them. And I wanted to help. And so as my independent career came with one thing in my mind, beyond a few other things in the entrepreneurship side, I wanted to give back and I wanted to inform my people about the true reasons why we were in the situation that we were in and then continue to be in because Ida and
Yeah.
other hurricanes that follow and what climate change is causing is affecting our communities first and foremost. And
Yeah.
that became my pilgrimage. The day I was homeless was the pilgrimage.
I want to touch on Katrina for just a moment, and you let me know if you don't feel comfortable because it's one thing for folks on the outside who watched it through media, through books, to talk about it, discuss, and analyze. But for you, who was in it, and your family who was directly impacted, what does 20 years post Katrina, what does that feel like in your spirit and your soul, and just the energy of what community is talking about in New Orleans?
I am comfortable talking about it
Okay.
because it needs to be talked about. So let me start there. Um, mm, I want to make sure I'm articulating this in a way because there's many levels to Katrina.
Yeah.
There is things that we all know, like for example, climate change is real, right? That a storm of that magnitude can only be affected by the reality that we are hurting our earth
Mhm.
and that our earth is responding in kind. The second part of that is the government knows. They know and can predict when these things are coming.
Absolutely.
And so infrastructure and representatives and councilmen and our leaders, our governors and mayors should then have an understanding of the importance of a levee, the importance of infrastructure that is strong enough to sustain a place that is 6 feet below sea level. There's that part of it. And then there is a added layer, which is the LNG and petrochemical um, again, genocide. I have to say it,
Yeah.
like, the plants that are affecting children and having asthma. We are one of the leading states that have child cancer. We are riddled with cancer around our homes and our communities. That's why we have the place called Cancer Alley. And in that, the pollution of the air, the shift of the way our air is, um, I feel pays tribute to the reality of what moves in our city and how it all is one large plan of destruction,
Yep.
plan of genocide. And I think specifically because we are a Black city that is so popular and full of culture and so full of power, there is a necessity to cultivate something and colonize it
Mm.
of the old in a way, a modern colonization, if
Mm.
you will, of stealing land, stealing homes, stealing the things we have fought for. And so Katrina 20 is not just a commemoration or a remembrance of a storm. It is a understanding and an importance, going back to those stories, to tell our youth and people who have maybe not gone through Katrina, these young people who have not maybe experienced that storm, to understand what we went through,
Yeah,
what we are still going through, the through line of what that means, that it's not just a storm, but our city and community is worth fighting for, and that
absolutely.
we cannot rely on outer parties to cultivate our city. We have to, as a community, come together and lift our own selves and lift our own community, as Black people have been doing since the age of time.
100%. Um, do you feel like so this idea of modern colonization is real? It's very real because too often colonization is talked about in the past
Mhm.
when it is active and it is hella fucking present. And so I'm wondering, especially since you're bringing up the young folks who weren't a part of Katrina and maybe aren't privy to what y'all had to go through, do you think the knowledge of modern colonization is circulating in the education systems or even storytelling amongst elders to the young people? And do you have faith in the young people, especially the young Black and brown kids in New Orleans? Do you have faith that they will be sort of the warriors, the environmental warriors for the next generation, or do you think that there's a lot more work to be done so that they get it and can move the torch forward?
I think both can be true, but the
Mm-hmm.
God I serve, I have to believe that there will always be faith because that's what I believe in. That's number one. I am a woman of faith, so I have to believe that there is always hope in something. Um, I do love what my youth are doing. I know from my city specifically, we just had the internal seed. Shout out to B Mike, and they just touched. We had when I was working with the Hip Hop Caucus, still am as an artist consultant. Um, in 2021, I think we started talking about like, um, yo, why is the levee just sitting there bare? You know what I mean? Like we're doing every year we step with the amazing Stess 45, who is part of the Katrina commemoration organization. He has his own, he's been around since year one after Katrina, like advocating and pushing and striving for the community to come together to get eyes just on the commemoration of Katrina, but also to make it a state holiday.
Mm,
And only for children to be able to get out of school and again, everybody reflect, pray, whatever they have to do to address the trauma that is still hurting people today. Many may not agree with that, but for those who have suffered and are everyday suffering a loss, this was an opportunity to observe, a day to observe. So not just teachers or council people getting a day off, but everyone.
yeah,
We get days off for Mardi Gras. Why
yeah,
can't we get days off to pray and remember something
100%.
so tragic? Going back to what we were talking about though, but we had saw we were doing the commemoration and we started the levees and it was just bare, grass not cut, the place where all this loss happened because the lower ninth ward was 12 feet of water. It looked like a barren land. Is a house and then maybe like 10 yards or 10 feet or 12 feet or 30 feet of nothing and then
Mm,
another house. These were homes that had massive communities now still look like swampland and then a house, right? So like the upkeep, the infrastructure is just not there. No, don't care. So we were like, yo, it would be really great if we could paint the levees and make this place beautiful and like
mm.
remember this place for what it was. And the youth came through Eternal Seeds,
Yes.
amazing Eternal Seeds from B Mike's Studio B, and they painted it. And we were there to unveil it just recently. But things like that give me hope that these kids, though they didn't half these kids didn't experience Katrina, they
Yeah.
still felt compelled to draw that story, to paint that story.
Mm,
Looking at Blair and the local community who did a BET special and they had Tank, PJ, all these amazing like artists to talk about their Katrina story and BET. That's the youth and millennial taking precedence and saying we're gonna tell our own story. Shout out to E. Buckles who did Katrina Babies, the incredible film that talked about 20 years later, these kids who were like babies and Katrina are still affected, and did a documentary on that. So you have the youth telling these stories. The amazing Taj, Queen Taj, who
Mm.
just sold for um the Super Bowl,
Yep.
and in that, telling the story of New Orleans and the importance of the patch and the bead and the work and the feather, and Taj telling it. Taj is a Gen Zer
Yeah.
telling her story as a Mardi Gras Indian, as a queen that is re-seeing, re-innovating what the Mardi Gras Indian is in New Orleans post Katrina. Like
Mm.
all of these are youth in their ways doing it. So I have faith because I'm seeing my people put faith into action. And that's what I believe in. The rest of it, I is the latter that you said. I still feel that we could be doing more, and that's why I hope my youth continue to hold our council people, our government to the fire.
Yeah.
I want them to be mouthy. I want them to stand guard. I want them to talk on social media and go at it.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
100%.
juke these people, you know what I mean? Like hold them accountable, and in that then feel compelled to then run for their own city and community moments. I want young people running for representatives. I want 20, 30, 20-year-olds, year olds coming from, 10, 15 years later from now saying, I feel compelled to want to run because I don't really like the way my neighborhood is rocking.
Yeah.
I want that. I wouldn't mind a gold two councilman.
Yes.
I wouldn't mind it because I think it's important for them to feel invigorated because
Yep.
we're giving them this land. We're
Yep.
giving them this. And it's pretty, again, excuse my language, shitty of us to give them something they can't work with.
Yeah. Also, too, there's that element of authenticity, right? So if we want to have folks who can speak to culture, speak to the community with the gold tooth and be real, that's what's needed. We need that level of authenticity in these spaces unapologetically. And so I love that you're speaking truth to power in the young people. That's I love it. I love it. This is beautiful.
I love I have faith. I love my young people. Um, so yeah, like I'm seeing it, and they're stepping up. And it's up to us to like sometimes too as older elders, and for myself, I mean I'm a millennial, so like I listen. I want to my ear is to them.
Yep.
I think we be trying to play young people
We
like they
do.
the answer. Like sometimes we need to shut up and let them lead.
Yeah, these young people are brilliant and badass.
Yeah,
And they move way differently than we did at their age.
say all of them are because there are issues, but
Absolutely.
like still, like I think you can't grow if you're not listening to your young too. Like you can't, like we can't step in this acting like we have all the answers. That's where the innovation and the new mind and the new ideas come is to open up. So I do feel like for every team you have with the experience, I
Mm-hmm.
also think your team should be laced with youth
Yep.
too. Yeah.
100%. Youth leaders are necessary. And I think there is an important conversation around intergenerational activism, right? So we need our elders and our youth to be in the same spaces, fighting the same fight. Their voice may sound very different, their perspective a hell of a lot different, but if we're all fighting towards the same shit, then we could figure out a way to commingle those existences and those experiences so that we are walking on the same pathway. So
Right.
I'm
So let
here for
them be
that.
comfortable speaking in their language. So we
100%.
be feeling like, like there is no such thing as like the way it's translated is the way it's translated. We get uncomfortable when it isn't received in the way which we want. But sometimes we have to hear that other language because that's how they're speaking with each other.
Mm.
And that's how the message can get through. That's what I feel like sometimes our climate advocacy misses the mark. We speak into the kettle and it's like we're the pot and it's going over people's heads, those terms, the way in which we're talking isn't
Mm-hmm.
translating to our people, which is why they don't know what a petrochemical is.
Yep.
Why they don't really understand what climate change means. That's why they don't really understand LNG or liquefied natural gas. They don't. We're talking to them wrong,
Yeah.
and
But
so like
see, that's why it's important, Dawn, because us as millennials, we're able to bridge that gap in a special way that our elders or our Gen Z, our youth cannot. Like we have a very special responsibility and important role to play to be able to be that voice who can speak both languages and cross-pollinate in that way. And it makes me wonder, and again, if I'm overstepping bounds, holla at me, but I want to know through this process, has it been challenging articulating or translating environmental justice language to your parents as elders?
For sure.
Okay.
For
Okay.
sure. Because it's like, but my parents are exceptional,
Mhm.
meaning they love me. And so after a while, my dad, it wasn't making sense. The way he was feeling, how he was, like things weren't adding up, and my parents don't smoke, they don't drink, they're very clean. Yet here we are, in the cancer in journey. And so it's like the smells around our neighborhood. This is my parents wanted a beautiful home. They kind of moved before my brother and I could really tell them the right place to go. And my mom
Mm.
and dad got into this beautiful home and all the things, but like smell is crazy. And so this is happening, like and it's real. And so after a while, they have to start saying, okay, this if everybody is saying it, if their peers are saying it, the older people are saying it, maybe there's some dynamic. So it took me a long time, it took me years to get here to be able to say, Mom, I'm working in a nonprofit, Dad, I'm working in a nonprofit. Look at this information I'm getting, it's
Mm.
wild.
Wild.
And then I went and met with the amazing Miss Sharon Levine and took the tour with Rise St. James where they got like 20 plants, like back to back to back. Like you going, it's wild, y'all. Like it's like back, 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 back. And like when she goes and shows you, it's like every house there's prostate cancer, every
Just
house there's
spewing
this.
poison.
It's like I was
Mm.
like,
Mm.
what? Like what is happening right
Yeah.
now? Um, and like, I mean, it is insane. My mom getting pneumonia, like getting viral infections every week. And I was like, Mom, what is going on? Like, and they keep, the slickness of it is they'll say, wait, it's a viral infection. You can get that from anyone. It's like, bro, it's the smell. Her allergy is messing her up to the point where she was getting it so much she got pneumonia.
Mm.
So like the levels after a while, they had to start being like, maybe there's context to this, but it took a year, almost 2 years for me to get here, for them to even think about the realities that maybe what's in their bodies, maybe the effect of what's going on is because of where they are.
Yeah.
Um, and then that's also hard, right? Because then you have parents who have worked their
Their
asses off
asses
for
off. Yep.
decades
Yep.
time because
Yep.
they lost everything prior
Mm.
to then rebuild to get here for then somebody to tell them your choice is stupid or your choice makes you sick. Now where they gonna go? They've spent their now second. I've helped them and I've worked hard to do the best I can to help them.
Yeah.
But also even if they wanted to move, they don't want to move.
They don't wanna move because they built a new foundation. It's hard. That's
Right. I
hard.
was like, Mom, I'll buy you another, and I'll get you another joint. And they're like,
Yeah.
but we picked, and so then it's like,
Mm.
and then they're in their 70s. So who wants to do another move?
Yeah.
Do another. It's all these things. And though I want them, and I'm telling them, I don't care, I'll move for you as elderly people of the 50s, their mind is just in a different place.
Yep.
And so, yeah, man, like it has been difficult. Just as difficult to translate it to artists and audiences that I have on the young side. It's been difficult to translate to faith goers and people. My parents are first generation. My dad and mom drank from colored water fountains.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like my dad remembers Ruby Bridges. He was young with her when they integrated. So my parents are parents of integration. I'm the first kid, my brother and I, out of segregation.
Mm.
So that's a real thing. I'm just one generation.
Yep. Again, people think it's so far.
Mhm.
People think it's People think colonization, Jim Crow, all the way to Jim Crow and it's not that far
No,
away.
my mom and dad dated, and my mom is fair skinned on her birth certificate. Like she could play, my mom passant blanc, she could passant blanc.
Mm-hmm.
So my mom could play, which is pass for white.
Mm-hmm.
So she could play the spectrum, but they would always get into trouble because my dad is chocolatey, chocolate, choc. And they would have to sit. My mom, they dated, they sat at different for the movies, they sat at the top. Like all of that. My dad was just telling me he remembers when he would get on the bus and the black people, they didn't have black bus drivers, only
Mm.
white bus drivers, and he had to ride in the back. That's my father.
Yep. I'm wondering, Dawn, has there been or is there currently a Aaron Brockovich-esque person in New Orleans? Because it's wild to me because in my space, knowing, being in the environmental space for a long time, I'm well aware of Cancer Alley. I'm like, would a Aaron Brockovich-esque movement even do anything? Because it's a direct pipeline from poison to harming the community. Like, it just makes no sense to me. Please, can you enlighten me, please?
You should.
It don't make no fucking sense.
Yeah, you should. So I had this. So shout out to like one thing I'm doing with the caucus is we just like this is why that we're having this conversation. Yesterday I did a educational roundtable where I invited influencers to come in and meet Miss Sharon Shiv, the caucus, the Think 100 team, Jasmine Gill, and Tarjay Purdy. And we just sat and talked. And it was, Ebony Stewart was a poet, Crystal Wood, who's a part of like Mingo County and like doing work there.
Mm-hmm.
And I had Tammy Latrell. I love Tammy. Tammy is a part of the Grammy Recording Academy for Atlanta, the senior president, the director over there at the Atlantic office, but she has ties to Baytown and Houston.
Yes.
Tammy Latrell is amazing, by the way. I love you, Tammy.
Yes, Tammy.
And we just spoke candid. And Shamira, Miss Sharon's daughter, came on and it was like, oh, my chest. She said it's genocide from birth to to the plant, right? They do directly tie into it in the sense that they get you right out of high school.
Yep.
The power, the plants. They come in and they say, hey, come, we'll teach you, like this is a great high paying job. We'll come teach you and get you in. And she was saying like 6 of the guys, young boys that came out of that, they were young high schoolers and they came in and they gave them cleaning the actual toxin tank. That was the
Mm.
job. They go in and actually clean the um tank. She said the last of them died recently. So all 6 are dead. They
Mm.
died from cancer. But
Mm.
they get them from young. They were, they have them career fairs at high school when they come in and they're like, we got jobs.
That is the most criminal thing what?
So then they go and they work there and then they wind up with cancer. And then now they're like, their family is riddled with it. They're living next to it because obviously they have to live close enough to work at the plant. Now their children have asthma and they're paying for those bills, right? And it's like a continuation of so then the father dies and now the kid ain't with a father. Like we left with all of these, and it's a cyclical, it's like, and then she was saying, get into this. It's in the wombs. It starts in the womb.
Mm.
Women because
Mm.
they're breathing and drinking the water.
Mm.
It's invested into the child before
Mm.
it's even born. Like there are levels. The men are dying of prostate cancer left and right. And I was just sitting there, and Tammy and all of us were like, and she's the one that said this is genocide. And it just hit me like that's real, like that's the realest form that I could see. She just laid it out there. They're living it. And I don't think when you put the connection to people to understand, yo, like this is from birth all the way through, and it is a way of life in these communities. An Erin Brockovich moment, yes, would be fantastic. Unfortunately, right? Um, it would. It's the narrative has been so beautifully on the petrochemical side that the work that needs to be done on our side to change and shift the narrative is so imperative.
Mm.
Um, I mean, I'm on my hustle now. I may not be Aaron Brockovich, but I'm giving
No, you Don Richard. Okay,
yeah, like,
stop.
you know what I'm giving, but I'm trying to use my platform to talk about these things in the way I can.
Yeah,
Think it may not take one person alone.
no, not at all.
It's going to take many errands
Yep.
of different ways. I do feel like Miss Sharon Levine is holding her whole St. James and her family, they're holding that thing on their back and running. I do think, Reverend Yearwood with the Hip Hop
Hip
Caucus,
hop
they're
caucus,
holding that thing on
absolutely.
their back to try to figure out what the site fights that we're doing. From, like I said, from Formosa to Louisiana, like the Louisiana to Texas, Baytown to Mingo County, Arahoa River Valley. We are doing the site fights to do that work.
Site
Uh,
fights, I like that.
yeah, the site fights to do that work, and you can go see that at hiphopcaucus.org. We have a Think 100 campaign that leans specifically into that work, and we work with Beyond Petrochemicals to do that as well. But I also think, like, again, Stats 4-5 and all these younger people, getting them in these rooms and saying, yo, we've got to switch. We got to get better at the narrative
Yeah.
because they're going into high schools. They're
Mm.
going into elementary schools. She said that the playground that they play in, this was Shiv. Shiv is from Fence Line over in Houston and Texas. He said that they paint the playgrounds the color of the petrochemical plants. So if the color is like teal and whatever for the plant logo, they're painting that the playgrounds next to it. Honey, that's what?
It's like it's not funny. It's like it's really that is next level strategic.
It's flagrant. It's flagrant, and that's what I mean by, like,
She.
if we not paying, like, as a culture, if we're not informing, if we're not knowledgeable, we're not catching it.
Yeah.
And isn't that the modern form of colonization? It's
Mm-hmm.
no different than going up to the Native Americans and the Black people and saying, "Come on this ship," or "Here's this corn.
Mm.
Here's these vegetables. Come on." Oh, it's like it's the same. It's the same. It's just another way of manipulating the system and conniving, and it's so flagrant that
Yeah.
you don't even believe it.
And these are big multi-billion-dollar corporations that have all the fucking resources.
And they have strategy on
Yeah.
this is strategy of old being talk about sustainability being
Yeah.
recycled
Yep.
and made new.
Mm.
And so at some point we have to use the old sustainability of us and go back to our ancestral stories and understand what it means to sustain our power,
Mm.
our equity, and information is a part of that. Knowledge is a part of that. And if we don't keep learning who we are, that's how they strip it. They strip away the narrative of who we are so that we don't know our power. And we are at an urgency. It is an urgent time for us right now to understand who we are so that we can get out of this. Because if not, we'll be wiped away.
Absolutely. You said what needed to be said. How imperative it is for us to sustain our power, right? I got to sit with that a little bit because that's a layer of sustainability that has to become the pulse, especially in Black communities, is sustaining our power.
Listen, because we have been in the midst. We have our culture, we have endured and then excelled. We are made to be we were already behind, and yet we run, yet we did.
And this is why I use the language regenerative instead of resilient, because yes, we're resilient.
Yeah, I hate resilient.
Thank you. I didn't, I didn't want to trigger nobody, but yeah, I hate resilient, but we're regenerative. We rebuild from scraps. think about compost. We are literal compost.
We literally do it. Okay.
Nah, for real.
It just can keep growing.
And not only do we build from scraps, we exceed where we were before. We become black fucking gold. Okay.
And shift nations.
Okay. And shift nations.
And change when we aren't even a part of the conversation. When we, the Black woman specifically.
And this is why Black sustainability discourse needs to be integrated into all formulas of sustainability. This isn't us just on the side in our own little world. Literally, when we are center, when we're the nucleus, the entire universe expands and excels. Period. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. 100%. That's why. Girl, look.
Yeah.
Nah, you said what needed to be said. I appreciate you so much. You lifted up Hip Hop Caucus. I'm wondering if there is another sort of, or maybe even local organization or initiative or Instagram account that people should tap into to learn more about what's happening on the ground in New Orleans or in Louisiana. It could be, at large.
Yeah. Go to Katrina 20. That's 4-5. That's our partner, Katrina commemoration. We're doing some incredible things for Katrina 20. August 29th, we're doing second line in March. We'll start at the levees in the night war, like we always do. And second line to Huntersfield, and then have a performance. I'll be performing along with some incredible other staples that have been, part of Mia Eggs and Tanya Boyd and all the incredible local talent. That's one thing Seth is phenomenal with, is making sure he lifts the local talent and local artists to be able to perform. The Hip Hop Caucus is partnering with him to do that. That's all day. It starts at like 10 a.m. all the way through 9 a.m. if you want to get there early. But 10:30, 10 a.m. you get to see the mural and all the things. And then, of course, Rise St. James again, at Rise St. James if you want to support Miss Sharon Levine. Because she is also a great partner of ours who I just personally, I have a personal love for her family. Shout out to Shamira, her daughter as well. They're beautiful, beautiful people doing beautiful work. And those are my core groups. There are many others in New Orleans, many other people in Louisiana doing great work.
Absolutely.
These are the people that I've been partnering with, and I'm very proud to be a part of their systems. In their ecosystem. So please follow them and check out what we're doing in the city, because we don't do things just because it's the 20th anniversary.
Yep.
This
Daily.
is yearly. We do it when nobody's paying attention.
Yep.
And that's the importance of it. So yeah, those are my two that I'll lift up.
Thank you so much. I love your sisterhood vibe. You be ready. You be ready to make sure people get put on and are acknowledged and are given flowers. I love that about you. And also love when your accent come out, girl. I love it. When I hear it, I'm like, yeah, baby. But
always nice.
Love it, love it, love it. Thank you, Dawn, so much for joining Compost, Cotton, and Cornrows. So excited to have you on this special episode. And hope that folks really take a minute to give thanks to ancestors as we're thinking about Katrina, really tap into the folks who are doing some real powerful work to rebuild, and just honor this moment and fight like hell to make sure that it don't happen again. So thank you so much, Dawn. I appreciate you, sis.
I love you, Dawn.
I love you too, boo. And that's a wrap, y'all. Hey! Thank you all for tapping into this episode. Please subscribe and tune in next time. And remember that from doulas to scientists and farmers to fashion designers, Black folks from all over the diaspora have always created the rubrics for sustainability.
Composting, cotton, and cornrows.
We've turned nothing to gold since the birth of our soul. It's ingrained in our room. Black is more than flesh and bone, planted deep in our code, and we bear the fruit. Yeah, they wonder how our stride's so bold, and our pride stone cold after all we've been through. Rich as the texture of our crown, 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 we pass it on to the youth.